What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and episode number 9 on our Acura TL Type S project. On the last episode, you see our team putting back the flywheel, the clutch, and the transmission, and it went in perfectly. What's the game plan today, Miguel?
Well, today we're going to go ahead and reseal the power steering pump, and we're going to also go ahead and finish the rack and pinion. We're going to put the tie rod ends on, the boots, get that assembled onto the subframe,
Right.
and get that back in the car.
Yeah, talking about the subframe, we gonna get the subframe all cleaned up because it is really dirty from all the oil leaks, the leaking CV boots. We got some purple power. We're gonna clean it up real nice. We're gonna show you guys how we do it. It's pretty simple, pretty much some elbow grease and a little bit of time of your own. Man, I think it's gonna come out brand new. So stay with us, we got a lot to cover today. So this is a subframe here, and as you can see, it's pretty dirty. Got some grease from the leaking CV boot and oils and all kinds of stuff. So what we're going to do is we are going to remove some of the major component like the engine mount and the power steering rack or the gearbox here, where we got to send this out to get rebuilt anyway because it was leaking. So we'll go ahead and remove it. Remove the mount and some of the little items here and there, and we are going to get this all cleaned up before we put it back in the car. All right, Miguel, so what's the game plan for today?
Well, right now we're just buttoning up a few little things underneath here before the subframe goes up. Power steering pump's off. We're going to get ready to reseal that, and then from there it's subframe back in.
Talking about that, where's John?
That's a good question. He's probably in his normal spot.
No, let me go get him.
Yeah.
John!
Hold on.
Let's go! Yo, come on, man.
I was in my office handling some business, Bobby.
You got a TL to finish.
All right, well, I'm ready now. I just had to make a deposit, and now everything's fine. I'm ready to go, man.
It's a large deposit. Alright guys, so this is the power steering pump. So at the power steering pump, there are a bunch of little oil seal. So John and Miguel, you're gonna take this apart and show you guys how to rebuild this power steering pump. Talking about the devil's right over here.
Oh,
good job.
It's very nice of you to meet you that way, Brian. I appreciate that. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is strip this thing down. We'll get the pulley off. That's a 19. Comes off easy. It's not reverse thread or anything. That's off.
What's next?
Next is, this is the suction side right here. 110mm bolt. Comes off real easy. This is already the updated O-ring. You know, you have updated O-ring if it's red. We're gonna replace it anyways.
That's not red.
It looks red to me.
It's orange.
Well,
Brian,
listen, to each their own.
what color is this?
This right here is a red,
Oh, I guess you're the color
but
blind one
it has
today,
a tinge
Mike.
of orange to it as well. So it could be either way. It is on the color wheel.
Which one would you prefer if you're going to pick one?
It's
said
orange,
red.
100% orange.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get back to it.
All right, so now we're gonna take the back off. Now, in order to get this thing to come apart without causing a lot of damage or taking apart the inside of it, I like to do a little something where I break it loose and I tap it. I use a brass hammer, and this will start to take apart the inside here so that it doesn't have the entire veins in here come apart. Because when these things come out, it's just a big pain in the butt. So I do it that way, everything comes apart like that. So these are the internals. We have an O-ring here, kind of a keyhole shape.
Pretty flattened already, huh?
Yeah, they the power steering fluid has a tendency to really dry all the seals out and everything, and just the constant pressure and everything on it. That's the nature of it all. Don't forget this pump was also on the same power steering system that was leaking, so if those seals are bad, it'd be pretty common that these seals are
I
bad.
think with 150,000 miles, I think we should change all the seals.
Yeah, everything's getting changed. So we have that seal. We have also a seal behind here. We're going to pop this out. It's almost down already. So we have one O-ring here. Look at this. That thing's supposed to be soft, so it creates a seal. That thing's hard as a rock. Now if I go to move it, it just shatters right into pieces. There's no way that's holding any seals. So if this car has a lack of pressure, it could be because of that. We also have one other seal right down here. Can I use your pocket, Miguel? That one too. Hard as a rock. Take this guy out as well. That one's not as hard, but like you were saying, it's flat. So we got that seal out, this seal out, the seal off the back side of this. Now we got a couple more seals to take out. We're gonna put it in the vise here, get an Allen key, and replace the O-ring on the pressure relief valve here. Then we'll pull this C-clip out, and then pop the whole drive shaft out, and there's another seal behind here. So we just have one O-ring right here to change. Comes off like that. What this is this is the pressure relief valve. So this is like a pressure regulator in here that will bypass the fluid going to the output back in and loop everything once it gets to a certain pressure. So all we gotta do, we don't have to mess with anything in there. Change this O-ring, put it back in, we're good to go.
This is a new O-ring to slip right on there.
Yeah, the O-ring goes right on there, and then this just goes right into here, and then we torque it right on down. Just like that. So now we got to change the main seal inside of here. In order to get that out, we got to pull this C-clip out with the snap ring pliers. Fairly easy, right? Once we have that out, we have to just persuade this out. Always use a brass or a rubber mallet because this is really easy to mushroom here, and you just tap it, come right on out like that. And this is spline to drive the actual impeller, and then inside here you can see the last seal with all that mess in it. We're going to change that seal now.
This is a seal puller you got here.
Yeah, this is pretty good universal seal puller. That's out of there, comes pressed. You know, this wasn't leaking, but they is better now. This is nice. It's got two different ends to it. This is probably one of the best tools to get into an area like that and pull it out. So we got that out. Now we're gonna go back the other way. Right here I have my 19 socket, and it fits pretty well right inside here. And we're gonna use this to tap it into place right here. Most of it in by hand. Actually, I might get the whole thing in by hand. This one side's a little high. One thing I have seen is if you don't press this down far enough, you can, it'll contact the bearing and make a really nasty screeching noise when you first start the car up till that little bit of rubber wears away. There we go. This is below the surface. And then now we're going to put this right into here. Now, there's still some power steering fluid on it because you always want to have a little bit of fluid on here, but this also comes with a clear grease. So this goes in here. That's done. Get our snap ring. Reseat it. It's all seated into place, and that seal's done. Now we're going to clean the whole housing up and put the rest of the seals back together.
Alright, the housing's nice and cleaned up. What's next?
Next is these seals here. So this first one is going to go right inside this back housing, like that. This one here, the keyhole shaped one's going to just sit right in here, like that. Nice and easy. This one's going to go down inside here. Make sure it's all in place properly. Like that. And now this, we're going to take, line this hole up with this part, and work it in. Just like that. Now we're going to take it and we're going to put it all back together. Here goes on perfect like that. I like to twist it so that it pops in nice and easy. Grab our 10mm bolt over here. Here's our pulley. You can tell which way it goes on because the threads are recessed just like here. So this is the side that goes down. Pop that baby on there. Now what I like to do is I like to put just a drop, could be blue, could be red, some Honda Loctite. The red's a little stronger. You know, this pump doesn't need to come apart again, so I put a drop right here on the threads.
We got a rack here. What's going on with this rack?
So the rack, it had some leaks on our rack end seals. Well, I should say the rack seals. They're located inside the rack. They're actually pressed into place. We were going to film it all, but our foreman, Willie, with tons of experience, does these things in his sleep, and he went ahead and knocked it down before we had a chance to film it. But here it is, totally rebuilt. New rack end seals, everything's replaced, torqued. When he does his work, he makes sure everything's tight, and after he tightens it, he puts a nice mark on it. It's a good you know, habit to have. Lets you make sure that you tightened everything. But the rest of it now, we're gonna assemble the inner tie rod ends, dust boots, and outer tie rod ends, and then get this thing back on the subframe and in the car.
So the first thing we're gonna do is inner tie rod end.
Inner tie rod ends.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so here are our new Honda inner tie rod ends, fresh from the package. They come with a little lock washer here. I'll show you how that whole works. So this will actually fit right inside these little notches right here, and then once we get it in, we bend it over. So I'm gonna put this on here very easily. Just screw it in. Once we got that tight, we're gonna use our special inner tie rod end tool here. This will lock onto here and allow us to tighten it. So yeah, right in that groove. Take this, put it in there, lock it into place. Now, some butchers like to put an impact gun on here. If that's what you want to do, that's all on you, but that's not the way we do it around here. So now we're going to take this right here, and tighten it up. Perfect. Hey, it's still alive. Once we have that done, now we have this overhang right here, and we're gonna knock this over, and this is like a safety that's gonna stop it from backing out.
In case it back out.
In case it backs out. Now the next step is we're gonna put the dust boots on here, the bellows boots. So these don't hold any fluid in. These are literally just here to keep dirt and gook out of here, because this is actually a surface that the seal rides on. Right behind this nut here, there is a seal right here. There's another seal farther in over here. So this will keep all the contaminants away from it. So now what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna get a little bit of lube, because it makes it easier to get everything over top of here. I'm gonna take our spring clamp, fit it over here first. Get this right in here. Hold that end so it doesn't. Sets right in that spot. Get it right there. This is in its spot. This is in its spot. Now we have a special tool for this. This tool will pinch this right here. Some people will use a set of side cutters, but this is the actual tool, because as it comes and pinches it, this will come down, or come up I should say, and pinch it and give it the perfect fitment like it is from the factory. So we're going to do that right now. Right?
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
OEM. Now we have one more thing. What are you saying?
It's a lot easier out of the car than it is in the car.
Yeah, doing these in the car is definitely not as easy as doing it on the bench. Now we have a new spring clamp. Usually you don't have to replace these, but you know, the name of the game's over the top around here.
Very nice plier you got there.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
How much you spend on that plier?
I do not ask the cost of my tools, I just buy them and pay them off. Don't tell my wife that.
Oh, she's gonna see the video.
Yeah.
That's a separate conversation.
Yeah. Now it's going to be the same thing on the other side. It may look different, but it's all the same. All right, so when we took this apart before, I went ahead and I counted the threads. It's not exact, it's not going to prevent the alignment, but it gets us close when we go to do the alignment, so we're not adjusting so much. So we counted 7 threads in the picture. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right there. Then we'll put our tie rod ends on.
So this thing just screw on here?
Yeah, this will screw on, and then this will go into the knuckle. This goes into the steering column. Same thing on the other side. We also have a rack bushing that's going to go right on here. It's the last part we're going to slap on here before we put it back on the subframe.
Alright, check out the subframe, nice and cleaned up, and we are just about ready to put on the power steering rack. John's getting set up there, and Miguel right there.
Swap it around. Here's the rack guide that sits right in here, the rack bushing. So you always want to start these off over on this side with these 2 bolts. They all have a washer. Go in here, start everything by hand. Not for nothing, but this is aluminum. Threads are aluminum. If you're not sure it's started right, you're going to destroy the rack, or the subframe, I should say.
Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is the power steering hose, the high pressure hose. Yeah, we're starting now on a piece of fittings, and then you have a bracket over here that hold by 10mm. And what else we got?
We're going to get our flare nut wrenches, line wrenches, and we're going to tighten these 2 up here. And we also have one more O-ring. Ooh, that thing's juicy. To change right on here. That's our last one. We're going to change that out real quick. That's that.
The power steering gearbox and the power steering pump and the subframe went back together pretty smooth. On the next episode, our team will be putting everything back together on the car. Hope you liked the video. If you do, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys on the next one.